Amma Veruni, Amma Veruni.
Yeah, that was seemingly a beautiful, nice melody. We have this orchestra that can be of good use whenever we do what we do in order to do it best. We have never endured such a turmoil like this. Well, that can be disputed. Disputed. Maybe that is a good topic. Disputed. Are you ready to be disputed? Can it be disputed? You see, many cases we are afraid to be disputed. It is this contradictory idea, the different narrative, the different approach, that is the case in many cases, that we debate often out of our own truth, but we may better be disputed than confirmed in many ways. You see, life is not all about how I see it. That would be too much of everything. If we are not prepared, I've been undergoing different disputes over the time, and you get used to it. You get the feeling that disputes make you a little bit more precise, more focused on what the issue is. It makes you heat up because it is a clash of titans. Disputes. Disputed. Did I write disputed? Yes, disputed. I stand disputed. You see, it is a good thing when you can be disputed. Sometimes we need that kind of counter force in order to feel that we are alive. Yeah. You see, I just collected my chocolate because to undergo disputation, you see, I grew up sometimes, I can't say all the times, but sometimes I grew up being in an environment that I saw into certain environment, that if I would have lived in this environment, I wouldn't feel good. I wouldn't feel okay, because what he or she said that was in a way so cut in stone, that was so, there were no alternatives. You see, with disputation you have alternatives. That is the end result of alternatives. I have to shut this. I don't want to have any alternative sound here now. That is too much at the same time. Too much. It is not good to have interruptions. But disputes is all about interruptions, which I hate. I hate interruptions. And to be honest, I don't regard interruptions as disputes. You are you are just overrun by others' intervention. So disputes should never be an interruption, because if you are really disputed, you should pay attention. But many, as I have been looking into different environments, that in this environment with those people, with that man, with that woman, with that child, you wouldn't feel nice. You wouldn't feel that you are welcome. Because here everything you say is wrong. It's only the one version, one narrative, one way to see it. And that's this, either your way or the highway. No way. That's people are not prepared to live in such an environment that a dictator should rule. Not today, not ever. Many people want it like that. I see to the Christian community, which is more of obedience than disputes. And that is taken advantage of in many cases. That, you see, I do it with the good intentions. That is one way of putting it. You see, you have to see to the intentions. Don't see to the acts. That is another way of putting it. And look what good he or she is doing. Look good what that organization, that church is doing. Why would you argue? Why would you debate? Why would you dispute such? That's interesting. Because disputes, if you can't handle disputes, you will feel the need of walking away. So in many cases, when you feel that there is no room for alternatives, there is no way out. So I have been afraid of being that kind of a person that imprison everyone there. It is a kind of a prison, jail, prison camp. When a family end up in a prison camp, when the church end up in a prison camp, you see, there are many ways in the church that they can come out of these counter arguments by claiming God told them. It is the hardest. You would never come around with that kind of a phrase that God told me, or he or she is a God's man, God's woman. I hate the whole notion of being a man of God. People have called me that. I hate it. I have to say, honest to God, I don't put my God's name in vain. Honest to myself, I don't like it. I despise it. I loathe it. Because such a man that is presumptuously man of God, he wouldn't be able to dispute, because everything he or she says is from God. who would be able to dispute God while God is silent? That is the whole idea. So while I was putting up with these disputes, I had to get the chocolate. That's how you deal with the disputes. Chocolate. You have to have something nice to taste in order to swallow the whole dispute. That's a thing. That's a thing for you, my friend. Disputes is hard for you. Here, the leftist media portray Mr. Trump and Netanyahu as those kind of people that can't handle disputes. It's very easy to do. And more often, when people are telling me their pity story about divorce, they divorced, they had to get out of their marriage. It's okay. That for me is okay. I'm kind of in the same state. But in my regard, I will feel so much of a liar if I claim that my wife was a psychopath. You see, close to not accepting disputes, close to not be able to have some alternatives, those people are more or less regarded as psychopaths. So if you listen to me, you would understand the way I put it, that if you are not open to disputes, views from other people, it's very easy to be regarded as psychopaths, as Mr. Netanyahu and Trump is regarded as. I was watching some series here on Netflix, those that have been encountered by UFO. The children at a school in Africa, I think it was Africa, South Africa or something, collectively, about 60 children saw a landing saucer landing on their outside the school area. And when some of the children came home or told the teachers, they rejected their story. Some rejected that story because they thought that to reject such a incident was better for the children, instead of being tormented by the fact of seeing a saucer, seeing a UFO, or aliens that came out of this UFO. They were denied by teachers that didn't see it. One teacher in that school admitted way far later that she also had seen it and being visited by aliens and this UFO, which have changed her life. You see the case, I'm not lifting the case of UFO, but it is a good example of if I told you that I have seen a UFO, and especially when children are telling such a story, like they see phantoms. Let me Google that word. Spøkelser. Ghosts. When children claim to see ghosts. But in this case at this school they were denied that they have seen anything. When some of their kids came home, they told their parents, which said, no, that is not your experience. Just denied it. That is not a fact. You didn't see it. And later on, a professor, because this came into the newspaper, obviously, and obviously ridiculed. Those children were ridiculed in the newspaper because they follow a certain narrative, and if you write any serious stuff about UFO, aliens, you will be ridiculed, making a laughing stock out of you if you tell something like that. So they interviewed some children, and that professor, he came to this school and digged deeper into the case of this experience that the children was talking about. And this professor didn't say anything of the sort that the teachers were telling him. The teacher said to him, we didn't want the children to believe what they have seen. So we just denied it. This is not true. This is not happening. This didn't happen at our school. What would the newspaper say? What would people say if we admit to that? And they psychoanalyze the children. Like psychiatric illness or something. They have seen something they just fantasize about. And this professor came, talked with the children, and he said to the teacher later on, why would you torment children with denying the fact that they really saw what they saw? Who would you be in order to deny someone else's experience? This professor, it was at a school. Maybe some of the children, the students, would be professors. But not in this school, obviously. With this prejudiced mind. They were stigmatized. Being a little bit cuckoo. You see, when you are denied the freedom of thought, you are subjected to a psychopath. in a nutshell. If you are not having the freedom to say something honest about your own experience, that would be tormenting. So he asked the teachers, why would you torment your children? And some of the grown-ups by those children was crying because this had tormented them to the degree, not the view of this UFO, but the denial of the grown-ups. Putting them in a certain box that they couldn't get free. So it is uttermost important when you have children that you take their viewpoint. You can't stigmatize a child that tell you something. You have to take every children into consideration. I feel very superficial when I'm talking about this because I may have done wrong. I may have done torment to my children. But they know their father is far from putting them in a jail. I'm just happy to see how they develop in their own path. So you can't tell your children what they did or didn't see. Disputes. Remember disputes. We are stand when it's you that dispute everyone else. But you can't stand the dispute. What is that? What kind of a attitude would only dispute everyone else but not stand disputed? I'm that kind of a man. That I think that you learn more and more out of being disputed than standing with the last word. Maybe I've been too much in myself to that. But you see, in certain cases, you cry out loud just to be heard. And when there is just an echo of your own voice, you feel that you are in a different environment. Not so grown up. Not so mature in this environment that can do you any good. So when you are not disputed, you feel so much alone. When the audience of your message stands silent to your words, to your expression, you feel so alone. Maybe even more alone when they totally agree with you. I've been there too much. Too much. People honestly doesn't answer, doesn't counteract my sayings. I miss it. I miss to be the underdog. In many cases, you learn more from being an underdog, taking the beat of everyone else. Now I'm the psychopath. Now I'm the false prophet. I'm the false prophet. I want to stand disputed. Something in this you should love. Of being counteracted, because that is also a statement that you are alive, that you are an entity, that you are living, that you have appeared, you are present, you are now. But this silence is of a different world. The silence of everyone else is disturbing to the degree that you feel so foreign from yourself that you don't know where to go in order to come back from where you came. It's a way of putting it. You don't know how to manage to get back from where you came. Maybe it's not important to get back. Maybe get away. Get lost. My friends, you should get lost. Dispute. To be disputed is so sobering. Many priests that stand there and preach, no one disputes them. No one counter them in any way. How convenient that must be. How convenient it is to be just a preacher that preach something that you shout out like me in the way I do. Here I'm talking about being disputed, but there is no one. Here is an empty echo chamber of my microphone. So, my friends, be there. Be active. Be active. You see, I think the television have been too much. The series, the television, the audience. We are just the audience. We are just bystander. We are just anonymous face, an entity that have no voice, can't bark, can't shout. We are just there to digest whatever is coming. And people are so perverted today. People are so way off perverted by this leftist media that can't handle any disputation. The leftist media will cancel you. The leftist people will cancel you straight away if you say anything that tamper with their sensitive, kind of weird, screwed up sensitivity. When I talk about Trump, 1. When I talk about Bibi Netanyahu, 2. When I talk about this pandemic, 3. All together, they are so single-minded. They can't handle the fact that everything they really say is colored by media. Even me. I have to be honest. I have to be some kind of a decent person that can admit certain facts about myself. But many people claim to have this independency, objectivity to everything, that they can dispute everyone else. But they are subjected to be taken down. I've been cleaning this house today. I've been doing my chores. I've been watching the parking meter. As Mr. Dillon said, don't follow leaders. Don't follow the psychopath. Be a mensch. Be a human that can be disputed. Wherever you go, in whichever case you are at, be disputed. Okay, shalom and peace on Israel.